Well, hi there. Hey, it's Linda Anderson from Linda Lou Creates. Thanks so much for joining me today. I am using and playing with the Playful Alphabet Die set. I can't believe this is the first time I have actually used it, and it is so much fun. I gotta be honest with you. So I thought I'd make some love cards, whether they're for Valentine's Day anniversary or just to say, hey, I'm thinking of you and hope all is well. So these are the cards that I'm going to show and create with you today. So let's get started with this one. First up, I wanted to let you know the product that I'm using. It is the foam adhesive sheets. And this is how they come. They have adhesive on both sides, so they're sticky that way. I just cut it down to size to fit. What I'm using on all three cards is a piece of white cardstock that is 3 3/4 by 5. So I just cut this down. But don't worry, whatever's you cut off, I did use some of that on some of the other cards. So hang on, we'll get you going and show you on that one. So, all right, so like I said, the card base is just a thick, basic white card base. Then I have my underlayer here of black, which is 4 by 5 1/4. So here is my white that I've already die cut out the verbiage, and again 3 3/4 by 5. Now as you can see, I went ahead and I put that adhesive sheet, the foam adhesive sheet, on that so that it will pop up for me. So what you'll do is just go ahead, trim that down to size, peel off the one side to adhere to the back of your white cardstock. Run it through your die cut machine with the letters on there. No problem running it through. I was concerned that this might be a little too thick, but I just used a regular sandwich for my die cut machine and it ran through just perfectly fine. Now, I do want to give you one little tip. I just want to show you a couple of the letters that pop out here that are die cut. So I don't know if you can see how the little, I think of them as like the release dots that are on the dies. Let me grab a die here for you. So see those little holes? That's where if it gets stuck in there, sometimes I put something that's pokey, pokey tool, in there to release it out of the die if it's stuck. Well, sometimes I don't want that to be showing. So here's a little tip. Go ahead and put it on the plate of your die cut machine. Put just a plain piece of cardstock, whatever you have, over top. Put your second plate on top and run it through, and it will smush those down, those little protruding little dots, and you'll have a nice smooth then alphabets. Okay, or actually it goes for any dies. So there we go, that little tip for you. So here it is. I'm going to go ahead and peel off now the back, since I already have my alphabet on there. Now, how to get, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. I wanted to have a different color showing through than the black. So I just cut out a piece of red. I wanted to make sure that it is big enough to cover whenever I set my top layer down. So this happens to be 2.5 by 3.5. So however you space out your letters to make your words, then just cut your cardstock accordingly. Another little tip that I found, obviously you can see that my letters are going wonky, and that was on purpose because I felt like I didn't have to be very precise with it. If you want a straight line, you know, put a ruler across, you could draw a line, whatever it takes. I guess I just was not feeling it as far as making sure that my words were straight, or my letters rather were straight. So that's why I went with the wonky layout there. So, and it is that same way all the way through all 3 cards. So there, because I peeled off the protective sheet, there I have my layer down, and now this is all popped up for me. The thing that I love is that dimension. So let's go ahead and adhere this down to our card base. And we are almost done with card number 1. Hang on, this is squirming around on me. That's the one thing you just have to be careful when you use the liquid glue, but then that's also why you use the liquid glue, is that ability to move it around. All right, from the stamp set here, I had the Ornate Thanks, and I pulled this from the bottom of my heart out. I inked it up with Versamark, stamped it on a strip of black cardstock, put on some white embossing powder, and then used my heat tool to melt that powder or heat emboss it. So that's a fun technique to do too. Now I just layered that strip up onto a piece of the red, then to have just to keep that color going for me. You have the option to leave the O blank. I kind of like having then the insides of it. So whenever you do die cut out your letters, make sure that you keep that little inside for the O. Pop that down. Now I have some of the resin heart embellishments, and let me just get a couple of those put on, and then we're going to be done with this card. So let's get these little guys up here or wherever you want them to be, and there we go. Okay, card number 1 is done. Pretty simple, right? Well, I'm going to show you that the next card is just as easy. So everything is pretty much the same card base, the same black of 4 by 5 1/4, the same white, which is 3 3/4 by 5. I went ahead and adhered everything down just so I can get this, save a little time for you. Now again, same strip of black using heat embossed in white, from the bottom of my heart. And this time I had popped it up onto some Flirty Flamingo because mine's going to be a little different than the sample card. Here's the sample card that we're going with. Remember how I said whenever you cut down your adhesive sheet, you are going to have this little strip then left over. Adhere some of that onto the back of some designer series paper, and go ahead now and die cut out your letters from that. So that's what I did here on the sample card. Now the only thing that I'm doing different with the one I'm going to show you, I used different colors of designer series paper. I just went into my subtles and brights and pulled out some colors that I liked. So let's go ahead now. It's just like putting a puzzle together. Let's peel it off, because now I already have the adhesive on the back here. So I'm going to peel that off and just fit that in. So some of these you just need to just gently put in, and then when you like the placement, then go ahead and press them down. Go ahead and get the O in. Okay, they fit right in there just the way they should. So here we go. I've got these. Okay, let's get the E. Whoops. Let's make sure that's down in there. And now let's get the E. So there. So this one just looks a little different than the sample, because this one I just used all of real red designer series paper. So I did save again the inside of the O, so I can put that on in. Okay. I mean, you can leave it on the black if you'd prefer. And here's my love using different colors then. So love it. Let's go ahead now. I told you about the strip. Let's get that adhered down. And I just wanted to bring in another color with this one. I am still going to use the resin hearts. As you know, they come in both white and red in the pack. Now, if I wanted to, I could use my Stampin' Blends and color up the hearts to be a color that I want. I'm just going to go ahead and use the white and have just sort of like a white on white effect here. And I think that's pretty cool. It's subtle and looks awesome. So here we go. Card number 2 is complete. So this time we used those adhesive sheets on the back of some designer series paper and then fit it in just like a puzzle. That was fun. Now, one more thing. What am I doing with those letters that I am, whenever I run through and do the word love, what am I doing with them? Well, whenever I cut it out of the white cardstock, I've kept it, and now I am making it, I am blending in, or using a blending brush to add ink and create my own colors then. You could do the same thing, use some of the extra strips whenever you cut it down to size, and you can put it on some cardstock. I decided instead to use up the white letters that when I die cut out the word love, I saved those, and I'm going to do some blending on there with my blending brush. Actually, it's not really blending as so much as it is just adding some color to it. So here we go. I already got some of it started. So my same card base of the thick white, the black being the 5 1/4 by 4. My white is 5 by 3 3/4. Now this is not popped up. It's all adhered, just layered up. 1, 2, and down to the card base 3. What's popped up is my letters because they have that foam adhesive sheet on the back. So I already did these. We have some Balmy Blue, Flirty Flamingo, and Pear Pizzazz. So I have one of the new blending brushes, and I'm actually going to do the L in Highland Heather. So let me just move this out of the way, and here's my L. Now, one thing I got to let you know is I'm kind of heavy-handed when it comes to sponging or using the blending brushes. So my colors might look a little darker than what you're like, wow, I didn't think, you know, Pear Pizzazz was going to look that dark. Like I said, I'm just kind of heavy-handed when it comes with it. So just keep adding until it's the color, the shade that you want. Being these little letters, you get very inky with it, so be careful with your fingers, and you know, just make sure it is then kind of an even tone. So I'm okay with that. So there we go. So there is my Highland Heather L. Let me just real quick wipe my hands off, otherwise we'll have purple all over the place. All right, so here we go. Let's bring the card back in, and I'm going to peel off the back and adhere my L. You know what, that kind of fell into a good place right there, didn't it? Let me just see, I can pick it up. I haven't really pressed it down. Now I will, because I do like that. Okay, now this time I did the same technique with the heat embossing on a strip of black using white heat embossing powder, but this time out of the So Happy stamp set. Like I said, I have the word love and then to celebrate you. So be sure and check out your stamp sets and you know, to coordinate the words with what you have for any follow-up words you want on there. I could keep it with just love. That's fine too. But I like the idea of adding this little strip of black that has the white heat embossing on it. So this is cut down to size and then banner cut on the end. So I'm going to just set that right down here against the edge of the white piece. And now, once again, I'm going to go ahead. I have my resin dots over here, or hearts rather, and I'm going to go ahead and get some of the white ones down again. I just love that white on white look. So I'm going to stick with it. And again, you can see I'm making the hearts go a little wonky too, so that everything matches, that it's not meant to be straight in any way. So, all right, so that's card number 3. Pretty easy as well. So let me bring them all back in. So here we go, where we used the cutouts that we had. Here is ones where we just went ahead and inserted a piece of colored cardstock behind where the cutouts of our words were. And here I used some of the adhesive sheet pieces to then put behind some designer series paper and have some fun with that one. So, hey guys, thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate it whenever you do. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my YouTube channel as well. Hey, I do have a blog. It's lindaloucreates.com. You can go there for even more projects. Chance to subscribe to my newsletter while you're there. Now, before I leave, I do want to point out that there is a tutorial for you to take and enjoy. Create these cards on your own. And it will be found down below in the description. So be sure and check that out too. So thanks again for joining me, and I hope you get a chance to create today. Bye now.